Well, hi everybody. I am Allison, that dance lady, and for a living, that's what I do. And I've been doing dance since I was 14 years old. So I put together a story about how all that works. That's a great question. I was working in education at Education Plus Charter and cyber school. And I was working hands-on in the classroom as an assistant with the 4th and 5th grade class. And as I saw them struggling with the materials that they had versus their dreams of things they wanted to become, it was interesting that they couldn't quite find material on some of the artistic subjects that they were really interested in. So black people, people of color in general, they just couldn't quite find their stories. So sitting there and reading with them and to them, I decided, well, I have been trying to tell my story for a lot of years, and so this was a good opportunity for me to write something on their behalf. That pushed me to absolutely get it done. Actually, the book started out without me actually knowing that I was writing a book, but being told that that is what I happened to have done. So I fell into it when I was in community college, and I felt as though I needed to get my skills together to grant write for my dance company once I returned from living in Italy. So I went to community college. Since I hadn't quite finished my degree from University of the Arts and was having a rough time getting back in, I just went to fill in with courses at the Community College of Philadelphia. And then my English professor, who I happened to solicit for his advice on what did he think of my CV, which had a listing of everything I had ever done from the beginning of my dance career. And he looked at me when I handed him this, what I thought was a great piece of work there and knowledge and all of my stuff, and he said, well, when you're done writing your book, I think that's the version that I really want to look at. The people who influenced my writing were basically seeing books by Judith Jamison and, you know, Dancing Spirit that she was, and her book came out back in the 90s as well. I was thrilled to sit in on her book signing and be a part of it. And I got to sit there with her and go through how she made her book and her thoughts on what things to include and the selection process and just how infinite it was, and it took a lot of work. So that was deeply influencing me, that I got to sit right there next to her and get that information. I believe both sides of that. You want to include everyone, which is why it's difficult to pin your own self down in a genre or something like that. But in order for you to be true to yourself and to whatever story you are putting out there, you need to be clear. And with clarity comes definition of what you want to define and how people are receiving it, what wording to use, how it sounds to them. Personally, I felt that being the factor that put mine in a specific design element. Writers should be readers. However, I can definitely share empathy with those who want to express themselves through rap and creating verse and rhyme, but they are not exactly influenced by reading books for it. They want to come from their feelings and from their heart, and with that, they have to be true to their vision as well. And if you're able to feel another person's sincerity, then the bottom line is you were able to get the message. Either way works, and it speaks to the heart and minds of those who feel what you're giving. And if you're able to reach them because you're being true, you're doing something. it's harder to write about something that is not in your experience to be believable. You can sound off-putting if you aren't experienced in a direction of a subject matter. It is just better to write about something that you know. It's simply better. Oh, this is probably the most expansive small book idea I've ever. I actually did not know it was going to expand into this. And I'm going to give away stuff that I probably shouldn't. But I'm thinking that my book, Chronicles of Carols in Color, because it is so colorful with vibrant archival pictures, photographs, things that were turned into cartoons and comic book pages, and brilliant write-ups about from history. I took it from the newspapers and things that were written about our reviews, great concerts, oh, they didn't come to this concert and the reasons why at the time. All of these elements forced my hand to consider how to present. And after I figured out how to squeeze it into 40 images and less than 50 pages, then I looked at the final product, saw it, produced it in my hand, the wonderful cover that was finally selected, and I thought to myself, this story is exactly what it's about, and the cover shows it. It's about a Christmas nativity story by Christians, taken from St. Matthew and influenced by Langston Hughes. There are fabulous photos inside and some very interesting original drawings by a good friend of mine, Laura Stanish. Because the book is about dance choreography over the years and how it merged to become a life of its own and became a historic thing in Philadelphia, hey, the workshops are now open and available, and I can offer the dances that are presented in the book. So the pictures you see can come alive. I'm old school, so things that relate are, they're interesting because they go through a process in my head of, do I need to upgrade my thinking of how things are done? What about that way versus this way? And in my mind, I'm always channeling, should I show it this way? Will they understand it? The point of view. It's a battle to figure that out. Relevance and even my personal place in it. After all these years, I'm finally writing this book, and you know, I had turned 50. It was my objective to get the book out by the time I turned 50. Okay, I got it out a year later, but the book is done and it's out, and I'm still close to my goal. But being 50, you feel the age discrimination here, and the whole technology. I have to ask teenagers and 30-year-olds to hook up my phone. I mean, I'm really challenged here, but I am learning step by step by step. I'm catching up with all of it. But I do feel that the relevance, just like history itself, if you've never known it, you're going to repeat it, you're doomed. Let's not be doomed. So I believe that the relevance is always going to be needed, regardless of what era, what time it is. You just really need to know your history. It will help your life in so many ways that I can't even tell you. Teamwork makes the dream work. You can do whatever you choose to do. Those things that we choose to do have goals in mind. You can get there probably how you started. If you imagine doing something and you were with certain people, it's probably somewhere in that circle that you're going to find your teammates that can help you push along your idea because they get you. And they know what you're thinking because you were with them when you thought of it. So they understand very clearly what you're about. And when you find circles of people that are about what you are about, you can get things done. If you cannot quite find those people, then the onus is on you. You're going to have to rely on your expertise that you've gained over the years and all of your experience to fill in the gaps, and find youth who have really no experience the way you want them to have it, but they are open to it, and they can do the work that you can guide them through, still pushing your work along. Yeah, part 2 of the story. And I don't know, eventually maybe I will do that mature version of the book. And I'll tell you the reason why. The book happened during a period of time where HIV became prevalent, and it wiped out an entire generation of male artist voices that were really so sincerely and earnestly affecting the dance movement of that time. So there isn't much written about the 80s to the 90s in the dance arts. I really think people are afraid of it because HIV took over, and the AIDS scare, and it was scary. Trust when I say it was scary. Living through that when we really didn't know what we were dealing with, and people dropping like flies, literally. You would see them one week and they're dancing, the following week they're gone. So living through all of that madness before answers came medically was quite challenging, and it still didn't stop people's minds from doing what they were going to do. So living it, knowing it, being a part of it, and somehow not catching it, you have to be careful. So there was really a lot to discuss and to talk about, and I got a lot of their stories. How to tell it, now that is the question. It's a tough road learning to be true to yourself. You need to find yourself first. And then you have to accept yourself. Acceptance is the hardest of all things. Once you accept yourself, then you realize how other people look at you and their perceptions, or you have a better perspective on what their perceptions most likely are. And with that in your mind, you can sculpt out reactions. So you won't be surprised when you hear them, no matter what side they fall on, because you're able to weigh them. But it comes through your knowledge and using your wisdom of the knowledge you have gained over the years to accept. So it's a struggle finding that balance within yourself, like, am I good enough? What does it mean to be good enough? I knew I had something to share. Of course, that's a lesson I could not forget. So just being taken seriously was important for the rest of my life, and will continue to be important. So I'm very thoughtful with how I come across. Now that you know, that's the information you can use, and that's the useful point. I have a couple of ways. You can find me at jayallison.com. It's my name, JAYEALLISON.com. That's my website, and of course you can leave messages there and sign on and be a member if you wish. And you can find information about my book. You can find information about summer programs, regular workshops during the year that I teach, and other things that I do and help produce. You can also find me on Facebook at Jaye L Allison. You can also find me on Facebook at the Chronicles of Carols in Color / Leon and Jay. And Jaye Allison Dance Production / Jada. And okay, there's more. There's Twitter, and I just changed my name to That Dance Lady to make it easy for you to find me. And I'm on LinkedIn, Jaye Allison. You can find me there. I have a YouTube channel, Jaye Allison. You can find me there. I try to keep things simple and consistent. So if you can remember my name, Jaye Allison, thank you very much, then chances are you will be able to find me on social media.
Hello, I'm Rachel Slaughter, the Executive Director of Literacy University. Real Education TV, where we will tackle sensitive issues plaguing public education. This groundbreaking show celebrates real learning, real education, teachers in the trenches, and real results. Our viewers will be riveted by our discussions with administrators and students in the middle, making decisions. By tackling sensitive subjects, we will eat the elephant in the room one bite at a time. Red, Real Education TV.
My name is The Indicator. Indicator. Enough said on that one. Yo, what's up? You know what it is. It's your man, The Indicator.
Holla. Tune in, man.